Okay, today's video, we're talking about how to get a ton more organic/SEO traffic coming to your site from Google Organic, of course Bing Organic if you want to add them in there as well, instantly. Without having to wait any time at all. And no, this is not clickbait. I'm gonna give you in today's video an instant way to get more organic traffic to your site. And not, an extra 2-3%. We're talking about upwards of double. I'm not guaranteeing double every single time instantly, but a lot, double digits more percentage-wise instantly every single time at least. Plus there's other things that I'm going to give you that's going to give you even more than what you're going to get upfront instantly to put extra icing on the cake. 2 or 3 things after, you'll get results right away, a little bit more results in terms of traffic and profitable traffic that actually gets sales like your top organic traffic does right now. And then there'll be a little bit more down the line. So it'll come in waves right away, a little bit more, a little bit more. It's all open and waiting for the taking for you to use it. If you want to step in, use my strategies, I'm going to give you as a turnkey way to get your organic traffic up. For some of you guys, you can increase that organic traffic by 3 to 4 times or 3 to 5 times. As I've seen it done before. We run a PPC management firm here. We only specialize in doing PPC. However, I throw in the service, a little bit of advice on the SEO, as well as conversion rate optimization, of course, as well. But as a part of the SEO, it takes me literally no time to advise my client these things that I know if you've got a PPC campaign running already that you can use to get 3 to 5 times much organic traffic with basically zero work or darn little work. So even though we don't do the organic for them, we tell them what to do, they do it, and it's a nice value add. We always want our clients to stay with us for a long time, and it's little pieces of information like that we provide that gets them to stick around longer and value the service more. That's why we do it. Anytime we see something broken or whatever, we give them that extra advice. But anyway, getting off topic here, what I'll do is I'll go quickly through a short overview here of what this is about, and then I'm going to get into basically why you want to do it, how you want to do it, what kind of results you could see on your site, of course, on top of this, and how you're actually, and going into the topic, how you're going to get traffic starting today with the information I'm going to give you. So it's going to be a turnkey way, like I said, to get more organic/SEO, however you call it, traffic to your site from Google, from Bing, from DuckDuckGo, from the other search engines that are out there. So first off, not nearly enough people are leveraging the free data Google is giving us to instantly improve their PPC campaigns. Sorry, I did a typo there. SEO, if you want to call it campaign, your SEO, what you're doing to get your SEO/organic traffic to increase, they're all laid out directly in front of them. So you're doing the PPC, in other words. You have a bunch of data that's available to you as the part of what the price that you're paying to run your ads to improve your SEO campaigns. But I see very few people actually using it, the data they get from the one, i.e. the PPC, to actually improve their SEO, even if they're paying an SEO firm already, or if they're actually struggling to get SEO. They never think about this stuff, which is the reason why I made a video today. Realistically, PPC and SEO should really be thought of and strategized hand in hand or together for the best results overall on each. And the reason for that is well, to break it down, it's very much can be broken down like this. The differences anymore used to be different, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. What it takes to do well in PPC is what it takes to do in organic today. If you can crush it in PPC, well, and as I mentioned on other videos about PPC and SEO, how they work together if you've watched them. What Google wants from the PPC side is somebody that can take the user from search to unsatisfied customer, if they're going to become an actual customer, as quickly and as efficiently as possible so that people come back and want to click on ads more often. They're looking at it from a long-term view. And so what they do is they measure you against the other ads that are there. There's only 4 ads at the top of Google, but then typically there's 10 to 20 people that are cycled in and out of those spots because Google's constantly split testing and figuring out who's the one that they want to be in those spots the most and try to price out the other people that aren't as good so that they consistently got the people that get the person to click, go through their ad, and the least amount of times come back to Google and click on another ad, which indicates frustration, unnecessary added frustration, which could be taken care of if they simply presented another ad, of course, and gets people again to be less likely to click on ads in the future. They want you to create an environment so you're thinking, I want it now, therefore I should click on an ad, because that's going to build up the most long-term revenue for their company. But in the process of figuring that out, that exact information will apply to the SEO, because if you weren't abreast of what Google has today for their ranking algorithms and a thing called Rank Brain, that they're also doing the same exact thing on the organic side. They got all those 10 listings there. They're measuring how many people click on your listing if you're in the top 10 organic spots already, how many people click on your ad versus the others, and then when they get to your page, how many people go back to Google to click on another organic listing than others. In other words, like with the PPC, it's the same thing as, it's who can get the person from search to end customer the most efficient. And that half of that comes from you give the user what they want the most in terms of the organic SERP listing, the text that's there, so that they can most easily figure out what they want by just looking at your ad the quickest, because it's more clear, says more so what's more appealing to people who search for that keyword as a whole. And when they get to your site, you deliver on the promise, and you deliver on the promise in a way that, again, it's a competition against you and all the other organic listings there. Who can get that person to finish what they were doing, i.e. they were satisfied by what they've seen, and not go back to Google, and who can get the click-through and the conversion on the page at the highest rate, which, you can do an average job on the click-through rate on your ad and do a tremendous job on the conversion rate on your page, and you could still end up where Google wants to rank you at the top of Google in the organic, and it can be vice versa. But in general, they look at both the click-through rate and the conversion rate as a formula to see if you should be ranked on the first page at all. You should be ranked 5th, 3rd, 1st. And they're measuring every single user, what every single person does on every single keyword. And people who get to the first page who cannot get the person satisfied at the level in which, let's say you're ranked at number 10, if you're not able to, Google makes an estimated guess using some other data. A lot of it's predicated on reviews and like social media shares nowadays, not like backlinks and stuff like it used to be, as per what I've heard from clients and seen recently. But they'll put you in the 10 spot if they get quality signs that they think that you should be on the first page in your space for some different keywords. You get there and you can't deliver in terms of the click-through rate and the conversion rate on your page, you get kicked off that page. So anything you do that will trick the algorithm, you're wasting your time, because if you don't have it just there, like I said, you're not going to last. But with that, if you do actually have a good click-through rate on your organic listing, and you do have a good conversion rate on your page, and Google measures that, and they realize that you have better stats there than the number 9 listing, guess what? Now you're number 9. And then the more confident they get that you're better than 8 and 7 and 6 and so forth, the higher they'll keep pushing you. And they'll actually split test you. They won't just even if you have better stats in terms of the satisfaction rate from the clicker ad or the users, the people that click through the organic listings on a certain keyword. Let's say you have better stats than number 1 and you're at 10 today. They'll usually take you from like 10 to 7, and then they'll test you against, in like 5 to 7's tested, rotated out. I've seen it where they'll make you number 5, they'll make you number 6, number 7, and then whoever gets the highest click-through rate is number 5, and then from there they'll basically test like 5, 4, 3 together, and so you'll keep going up and up as long as you keep winning the competition against the other people that are directly surrounding you. They also do that, I'm pretty sure. I don't have inside knowledge from Google, but the competition there on the first 3 listings is actually different in how people behave than it is towards the bottom of the page and what they want. In other words, what they want when they click on a link down at the bottom of Google search results is different, a little bit different than what it is when they want to click on the first 3 listings there, which is why I would explain why they, when you go up, you're constantly then now split tested it against the people that are near you, and then if you win, then you get to be in the running for the people above you to split test against those 3 organic listings and so forth. So anyway, long story short, it's roughly the same thing with your PPC ads to get those to work, because if you give the user a good experience on the PPC ads, they charge you less. They want to send basically all the traffic to you, and it's based upon what you get charged per click is based upon a quality score system, which quality score is just the same thing that they have with the organic. The great thing with PPC is it forces you, or forces the user. Well, I like it because I'm skillful, but it forces you to figure out what the user wants, or you're not going to survive. But if you figure that out in the PPC space, you've basically already figured it out on the organic space, because granted, 100% people look for different things in the organic when they click on an organic than a paid ad. People that want paid ad, click on those, usually want something now, versus the organic people are kind of more so as a whole anyway, looking for information. But if they're looking for Briggs and Stratton 4 horsepower riding lawnmowers, and they type that in, in other words, a buying term where somebody's, not all of them, but more than likely, or more than half, we'll just say, are looking to buy a product right now. The user that clicks on the paid ads and what they want is probably pretty close to what they want on the organic. So if you just are forced to, because otherwise you're going to run out of money, and you don't want to lose, you're very risk and loss averse to losing money with PPC. Now it forces you to be on the top of your game. You figure out how to do it better than the PPC people. You've got a turnkey way now to apply to your organic and get huge increases on your organic because of that. And because of that whole thing, it's very, in my opinion, idiotic to just focus on SEO when if you can't get PPC to work, your organic's going to be crappy anyway, because you don't know what you need to do to please the organic people and please Google in terms of them seeing what the organic people do and want when they've clicked. On every single click, they put it into a database. They're running calculations all the time to see, constantly letting new people in, potentially kick out the old guys and keep the old guys at the top, so that they have the best people there all the time. You use their information, and you could, on the PPC side, get your game together. Anybody can make PPC work if they just put enough time in to figure out what the user wants, because most of the people you're competing against are lazy. And then you will have half of the value, if you will, from what you've done with the PPC will come from the organic, because you can just reapply that there. And that's about what it is. As you scale your PPC campaigns, you start out with a small budget, you get that to work, then you start scaling up your budget. The more you scale your PPC budget, the more your organic traffic comes up, and about half the value and half the profit that you make from the PPC will just be from the organic, because you're reusing everything there. Particularly if you do all this stuff here. But even if you don't, it's the more your PPC is scaled, the more your organic is going to come up naturally, if no other reason, because you're doing more business, you're getting more reviews. Reviews are a heavy, heavy ranking factor now, but you have more authority in the eyes of Google because you're doing more business physically. More people are coming back and typing in your brand name because you are doing more ads. Naturally, that's going to happen. And so you're going to look more authoritative. You're going to have more organic anyway. But what I'm talking about in this video is physically taking the data from your PPC ads, what you were forced to figure out, and also what you're getting by doing the PPC ads, and just apply that to your organic, and you'll have turnkey results from your organic as well. So, but regarding and back to this, as you do your PPC, if you're going to plan out seriously with your SEO strategy to get more traffic, it should be spearheaded with information and your strategy as it sits in PPC, because they're basically, like I said, one and the same, and you don't have to guess. Why guess what Google wants? Why guess what keywords will work? Why guess what to put in the title and description, meta title and description, when you know you've already paid for all that data? Google gives you that data with the paid ads, and they don't give it to you for your organic traffic anymore. But if you got the paid ads, then you do get it. And that's another reason why you want to do paid ads first, because you figure out the data that you need to plan out your SEO right. Anyway, with all that said, here are the methods here to be able to get more SEO traffic if you've got a PPC campaign running and you want to do what it takes to get the PPC working initially. SEO traffic. So this first one is the one that's going to get you results right away as per what was advertised in the title. You use your split testing capability that you have with Google Ads and PPC to find a SERP. A SERP is really just what they call in the organic SEO world, where what's physically showing on Google in the organic free click space or whatever, free listing space, that will get you the maximum CTR from your listing in the organic space each time that what they call impression, or each time it's shown in the organic space. So in other words, whatever gets because you're going for a high click-through rate, which is the rate in which your ad gets clicked through, in which that directly affects how much money you're going to make in terms of your cost per click comes down a lot, almost directly proportional to the higher the click-through rate you get. Once you find out how to get the maximum click-through rate there, or at least you find out anything about that gets you a higher click-through rate, you immediately try to see, going back to this, your strategies for SEO and PPC should be hand in hand, that you immediately figure out how to try to apply that to your SEO SERP, which would be rewriting your meta title and your meta description, because that's what goes into your organic, what's shown on the organic portion of Google. There's no, as a side, there's no, Google says they can show whatever they want there, but they will try to use your title and description for your organic listing there. And if they, just like with the PPC ads, and like I said, most people, they don't write very good ones, so they have to do something else. But they will test out your title and description that you've handwritten, and if they see it's got positive data, they will use it. So it's just a matter of whether you use it or not. And there's no reason they can't use it and won't use it if you've got something that's getting you a much higher click-through rate. 99% chance you have your organic listing can basically be improved already just by taking what you're doing now with your PPC ads, looking at your ad with the highest click-through rate, see what the formula that got that click-through rate, and applying it to your organic, rewriting your meta title and description for how your organic listing shows up on Google. Now, there's some tools that do so-called split testing of your organic, what shows up on Google Organic, your SERP listing there, which I've also used. But if you have PPC, you don't need to do split testing like that. And so there are tools like the Yoast tool, I believe, still does that, where you can test, do you want this to be on your title? And you can test sending half the traffic from this particular listing And then also you can have an alternate title, which it'll test and see which one gets a higher click-through, because again, that's a part of how much traffic you're ultimately going to get from Google. And so not just, obviously from more people clicking through, but you also get more traffic because they're going to start having you show up as well, which is the second part of how you're going to get more traffic and more SEO traffic from having the listing better, and in which you're from taking data from your PPC campaigns and what you found to get a high click-through rate there. If you're split testing your organic listing, Google hates that. They don't want to see any volatility in what you're doing. Even on the ad side, when I do split testing, I only do it for one keyword to test to see if an ad headline or an ad description works better, so that I don't have all this volatility going on in my account. Well, with your organic listing, because the algorithm's constantly not trying to take risks and use all the prior data to give people the best experience that they can all the time, and if they're going to try something new, they're going to work your thing in that's new at a very, very small percentage of the whole to see if it works, and if it doesn't, they're going to kick it out. And when they see your title and description rotating all the time, it screws up their testing. So I don't recommend using it. You've got a PPC campaign, you already have the data anyway, but even if you didn't have a PPC campaign, it's even worth it to run a PPC campaign just to figure out what should be on your title and description for your organic listing for your main keywords, because you're going to end up making that back 1,000-fold. I've got it to where usually if I write the title and description from what I've learned, and because I'm a decent copywriter, but from what we learned on the ad side, I can help the client rewrite the title and description. We're able to double the click-through rate on the ad, which gets you a doubling of organic traffic immediately, just like the title of this video advertises. But then Google, over the next 1 to 3 months or so, figures out that, yes, this isn't a fluke. You have consistently, there's statistically significant information here that your listing, when this particular page is ranked, gets a much higher click-through rate. Now, you should actually, instead of 5, you should be 3, because we figured out it's better than 3. And then, oh, look, maybe it's better than 1. We'll test it against number 1. And oh, now you're number 1. Another way, you can look at SEO is, all you got to try to do, if you're just doing things the way that doing it right, what Google wants you to do anyway, which is try to please the users more than anybody else and you win anyway, is just get your listing, your organic listing, on the first page. Even if you get it on number 10, now you have a chance to go to number 7. Now from 7 you have a chance to go to number 5, and up and up and up and you go. You just need to get planted on the first page, which you can do stuff to try to help support that. But naturally, once you get enough of the people, if they're testing and they want to make you wanted enough keywords on the search results, you were lucky enough to get on the first page, other keywords that weren't on the first page, they'll start testing those out on the first page, surely. So generally speaking, if you do the PPC right and you have all the perfect right data to make your organic right, and then you apply that to your organic, there isn't any reason why you have to do anything else to get your organic rankings up and your organic traffic up, because you'll be able to have exactly what Google wants. Second to that, number 2 here, you can upload your landing pages if you have them to a sitemap. So one thing I always love doing, is I like to make whatever landing page we have, I'll make a clone or a copy of those pages so that each keyword can have a page. Respectively, whatever landing pages you have now, a lot of people don't put those on their sitemap because their SEO people talk them out of having them crawled or whatever because they don't think it's ideal. I'm telling you, that's BS. If you have a landing page that gets insane conversion rates from your PPC traffic, you want those pages to get crawled. And in order to get crawled, a lot of times you need backlinks pointing to them, as has been the case for many years. But you can generally get lucky if you go into Google Search Console and upload your list of landing pages that you use for your PPC campaigns to the sitemap, and then they'll start getting crawled. A few of them will get ranked on the first page. those pages, again, will get quality signals that they actually beat other pages that are currently ranked for that niche, and then send you up in the rankings, and then it'll start ranking higher. Other pages that weren't on the first page, now they're on the first page, and get that whole mechanism going and utilize your landing pages as is. But going further than that, you can add more landing pages to your PPC campaign and leverage them with what I mentioned on number 2, getting those landing pages onto the sitemap. In other words, touching on what I was going to say before, but I kind of put it off and waited till I got the first part out here. I'll make the landing page, I know it converts like crazy. I know if I take my landing page and make a copy of it for each keyword so I can have a handwritten headline with the user's keyword in it, I will get a 40% bump in conversion rates doing nothing else besides that. And yes, you'll have a few dozen, if not a few hundred landing pages, but if you get a tool like Unbounce, which I stand 100% behind and use on every project basically, and that's not an e-commerce site, and also a lot of times with e-commerce as well, you can have 500 Unbounce pages. It doesn't cost you anymore, and it won't have to slow down or bog down your site. It won't be messed with because you have a separate login just for your PPC landing pages. They're going to be rock solid in there. There's no reason why you can't make 500 landing pages, one for each keyword, and get the extra 40%. But with that, you make all those other pages for all those other keywords. You can take those and you can upload those to the sitemap and get even more rankings. Why? Because when you make a page that's perfectly optimized for 4 horsepower Briggs & Stratton lawnmowers for sale, that whole long string there, and you put that in the headline, you have a page just for that. Google, just think about it from Google's perspective, they got to rank something. The easiest for them to realize what should actually be given a shot, like I was explaining before, you just got to get a shot at being on the first page. They should at least test it. And because you aren't doing any BS, loading up your page with keywords and then having a dog shit conversion rate or whatever, trying to trick people and not caring about your conversion rate because, oh, the traffic's free, which is what SEO people generally do. They don't try as hard on the conversion rate. They try to get more traffic when really, if they just worked on the conversion rate, the rest would come along. But those 500 landing pages, in other words, though, one for each keyword, those get ranked for the keyword in which you're targeting on your PPC campaigns. When somebody types in 4 horsepower Briggs & Stratton lawnmowers for sale, when they type that keyword in, you want your ad to show up to say, the way that I do it, I'll make sure I'll have a keyword for each ad group so that the ad can also say 4 horsepower Briggs & Stratton mowers for sale. And then we take them now to a dedicated landing page because we created one to get an extra 40% in conversion rate so that the headline, because the landing page said 4 horsepower Briggs & Stratton lawnmowers for sale, and maximize the whole thing. Now, for an extra bonus or icing on the cake, as I called it earlier, that same landing page, we'll put it on the sitemap. As soon as the landing page is done, I'm always going to put it on the sitemap right away and get it to rank for 4 horsepower Briggs & Stratton lawnmower for sale, and it gets on number 10, and then number 7, number 4, number 1. You get the whole idea. So you're going to parlay your PPC results into your SEO results in real time. Some of you guys may be shaking your head and saying, but isn't that like doorway pages to have all those landing pages that are optimized for just one keyword? By the old definition of what doorway pages were, it absolutely is. Back in the day, that was the way to get good rankings. You could just make a whole bunch of pages for individual key terms like that, have it in the keyword in the headline, and like maybe a few different areas on the page, and it would rank because the algorithm was dumb back then. It's not that easy anymore. They have latent semantic indexing, so they understand the context of a page and use that to determine what the page is, not so much just the keywords alone. But also, not only that, it's still, they like I was basically explaining earlier, they do look at, like if you have the keyword in the headline, they will rank it on the first page a lot of times, particularly if there's no other pages that have that particular phrase on it. Why would they not? But if you just are doing it purely for an organic purposes, what they do a lot of times is they look at all the other pages, and if all that's different is just the keyword, a lot of times they'll catch on to that and it won't rank. Each page won't rank for each keyword it was set up for or designed for. So it won't always work. And then Google, when they don't want you to do something, generally they say, don't do this, and they try to scare, like, you'll get a penalty. I've never seen a doorway penalty in all my life, and I've been doing online marketing for 15 years. But if you're particularly worried about it, you can use a canonical tag on each landing page and just point them back to the original landing page. So you make all these copies of this landing page so you can have a page for each keyword that you're going after on your PPC campaigns. Well, if you're worried about, you want to get the extra traffic from the organic side, just make sure that page has the canonical tag and point back to the original page. What will happen is not every page will rank, but a lot of them will, and it's random anymore why they rank some pages but not others. And that canonical tag will just put the rest, your SEO people, there's no chance of a penalty because that's what the canonical tag was originally designed for. Yes, they'll kind of catch on to that all the pages are the same because they've, like I said, they caught on to that, but some pages will still rank. And going back to what I said before as well, out of, let's say 500 pages, only 5 of them rank right away when you put them on your sitemap. Well, those 5 pages, if they get quality data, because you basically, if you don't have good user stats, they'll get not ranked anymore, like I said. But if they have good user stats, they'll look at the other similar pages and say, well, we think these pages are similar, but this page converts so well, why don't we give it a shot anyway? So there's never nothing so cut and dry with SEO anymore. A lot of it, just summing all this up, is doing some stuff to hopefully get lucky enough to be on the first page, and then have everything set up so your page, if it does get on the first page, converts so well, you'll get to number 1 anyway. And with that, a good way to kind of shotgun blast the best way to get on the first page you get a shot is to shotgun blast a lot of pages out there. Some of them will get picked up, most of them won't, but the few that get picked up, they'll rise to the top, and you have a good stream of traffic coming in. Why not try to do that? Particularly when there's no risk of a penalty because you got the canonical tag going for you at the same time. So hopefully that'll make sense. The last thing here to get more SEO traffic from the PPC, if you got PPC going for your company already, is you can take the most profitable search terms lifetime for your keyword cloud on your page. So in other words, so you can do this for just one landing page, but going back to my example where you have your core landing page and then you make a copy of it for each keyword, right? You go into, this is the one I really don't understand why people don't use the data that they have for you, because this is wildly effective too. You go under the search terms report on your Google Ads account, and then you go ahead and you sort descending by revenue. And that's assuming you have revenue tracking. And if you don't have conversion tracking on your site, you don't have revenue tracking, you should really go for revenue tracking. If you're only doing lead generation, you should try to get your revenue, whether your leads convert or not, into your ad account so you can do revenue tracking like an e-commerce site. You do that through a process called offline conversion tracking, and there's a video or 2 on this channel specifically about that explains how that's done. It's not rocket science, it's pretty simple actually. But then, so part of, half the value, like I said, going back before, of your PPC is getting data that tells you, what not to do on your PPC so it keeps getting more profitable, but also you can use this data for SEO. If you go into your search terms report and on the date range, you put lifetime, and then you sort descending by conversion value, which would be revenue, or the value of contracts that closed if you're doing lead generation and importing of your contract value or sales amount from your leads that close back into your account through offline conversion tracking. You can see all the search terms that got you the most revenue over time. And some of them will surprise you. They'll be long keywords that are not competitive organic-wise or SEO-wise that nobody knows to compete on, because the Google keyword tool now only gives you basically the short tail keywords. You'll never know a long tail keyword even gets searched, let alone that it gets a bunch of sales, unless you've been doing PPC ads. So all that data is free. So you take out the top, let's say 100 most revenue producing search terms, and note that I'm saying search terms, not keywords. It's the search terms you want. And then you take those keywords, those search terms, you make them keywords for your SEO attempts, and you can recreate a keyword cloud or keyword section. They used to call it a keyword cloud back in the day when I worked at a different agency specializing in SEO, but you know what, you'll see on the bottom of pages, you can add keywords without it being considered like keyword stuffing if it just says tags. Tags is the new word for, having ethical keyword stuffing, tags. And then you have keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword. And that allows you to, hopefully, and a lot of times you will, rank for a bunch of keywords that are, basically that you want to rank for as well with that page, and give Google an idea more so what that page is about. And they want that to some degree. They want it as at least if somebody who they send to your site from that keyword, if they get to the page and they convert. If they don't, guess what? They'll stop ignoring all the other keywords. So don't go after stuff that gets a lot of traffic. Go after stuff that if you put that keyword on the page, if somebody searches for that and they get to your page, they're going to convert better than anybody else who ranks on the first page for that same keyword. If you do that, Google gives you a shot. You're going to keep getting more and more and more and more traffic versus none. That's really that cut and dry. It's really that simple. So all that data is there. You do some research about what of your top 100 most revenue producing search terms which pages they should go on in your pre-designated section that you have for your tags. And so, you can easily put 10 hashtags or 10 tags, if you want to call it that, on each page that you have without it looking junky or spammy or anything, and where Google's not going to consider that keyword stuffing. And you'll start getting rankings slowly but surely on those long tail search terms that nobody else is going after, and it is super non-competitive. Think about this. It's not only super non-competitive, but it's also super profitable. So it's like finding a diamond in the rough. And if it makes money on Google Ads, you want to double up and make twice as much by having you ranking for it. And you're not going to rank for it a lot of times unless you put that specific search term on your page. Respectively, this is also where the other landing pages, copies of the landing pages comes in handy, because then if you had 100 is actually conservative. I said that to not scare anybody before, but if you can, and I would be doing for my own business, is I'd be taking the top 1,000 most revenue producing search terms to be used as targeted keywords, and then sprinkle those into the pre-designated tag section of my 500 landing pages or so, or whatever. Usually it's not 500, we'll have couple hundred or whatever, but you get my point. You'll put 5 to 10 on each page, and because you do 5 to 10 on each page and you have 500 pages, you don't have to just pick the top of the top. There'll be a lot of these terms that get a little bit of revenue, but are like literally no competition whatsoever. And it's going back, it's like the shotgun blast description I gave before. You're shotgun blasting, let's say 3,000 different potential keywords that are profitable. If you show up on the first page, you got guaranteed money coming in, and you put just a few on each page. And because that page is on the sitemap, right? Google has a whole lot of options of different things now that it has a lot better information to know where you should show up. And because you did your work ahead of time, you figured out what it took to be profitable with PPC, and the page is set up to convert very, very well. And you used what you have for your ad tests that you did on PPC to make sure your organic listing gets a super high click-through. Once you show up anywhere on the first page for those long tail search keywords, you'll probably float right up to the top. And because there's like 3,000 keywords you're going for, even if you rank for 5% of them, you made a whole bunch more money, and nobody's going to be able to figure out what you're doing unless they're running ads. Only maybe 10 to 20% of your competitors run ads, and now them, more than likely, what I'm telling you here, 1 in 100 people do. So you'll be the only one in your market that knows what those keywords work, they're profitable, and that they should be going after them too. The best PPC strategies or marketing strategies are ones that work, but nobody knows how to replicate. Because then once you spend the time to set it all up, it'll work for years and years and years. You can count on it because you know nobody else is going to be able to compete against you. Versus going after some of the main traffic terms with your PPC, you can still always beat them if you put the time and effort in, because that's mostly what it's about anymore. Will you put the work in to make sure you have an ideal experience for every different type of user, so you come out on the top in terms of click-through rate and conversion rate as a combo package, but you constantly have people that see exactly what you're using. So you have new people nipping at your heels all the time, which Google wants to keep. It's like capitalism. They want people competing, so the overall experience as a whole for ad clickers for any given term goes up and up over time slowly as people beat the incumbent that's there. Then the incumbent has to come back. But with this, there is no competition. There's nobody who's going to see your landing page for this obscure keyword like, top Briggs & Stratton mowers, 4 horsepower. You rank. It'll be easy to rank because no one's going after it. It'll be easy to get from 10 to 1 because nobody else has really optimized and created a page to serve that particular user's query very well. And nobody's going to be paying attention to it when you rank anyway. And you're going to make money over 500 terms, so it's going to stabilize your revenue even more. And even if somebody did catch on to one term, you got 499 they're not going to catch on to. So anyway, I think I pretty much explained that pretty well. Those are the 4 strategies. Like I said, there would be some revenue you can make instantly or right away. There'll be a little bit you can make, let's say 1 to 3 months in, and then there'll be even more revenue long term. You'll make more money right away by just upgrading your title and descriptions for your all of your pages. Figure out the formula that works in general with your PPC, and then create a template that you can use to rewrite all of your other organic SERP listings. And you can do things like, which is a small tip I was going to share on this video. You can take if you're an e-commerce company, I found that if you put the price in the title, your meta title, you'll have beat the other people you're competing against almost every time. Why? For product pages. Why? Because it looks like a shopping ad. Shopping ads do really well. Shopping ads are the ads with the photo and the price underneath it that's on Google. People love those ads because you can see easily what you get before clicking. People don't want to click too many times because it takes effort evaluating all these things. What they want to do is have low risk of being disappointed. And when your organic listing has the product and the price on it, now you've given them a reason to click on only yours. Found that out recently. That's an amazing tip or idea for you. But you at least have some data, 99% sure, in your PPC that you can use to improve your organic listing, given that people that write the organic SERPs are usually SEO people. No offense to you guys SEO guys, but you guys are generally not copywriters. Like, you have to be a copywriter when you do PPC. And so you're just going to go from not optimized at all virtually to super optimized or more optimized, and then potentially after that, super optimize as you get a little bit more testing done on your PPC to find out what is the best way to write an organic listing. That's right away money. Then you're going to take your landing pages and get those indexed through having them uploaded to your sitemap on Google Search Console. And that'll get you some rankings on a whole bunch more keywords in a month to 3 months as Google has time to figure out where they're going to place your landing pages, your new landing pages that are now going to be able to be crawled in the search index somewhere, search results somewhere. And then you're going to get even more results longer term when you lace, because I call it longer term really because this is going to take you a little bit longer to do. Once you lace all your search terms that are profitable because you're doing revenue tracking of your leads or your sales that are coming in, tracking of your sales coming in, and then taking those search terms and spreading them out over all your landing pages that are now in the search, in the sitemap, so Google can see them all. And essentially you'll start popping up for all these other keywords, and then you'll keep popping up more and more. This is where the longer term comes in because they're going to pop up for 1 or 2 or 3% of the 1,000 or whatever you have. And then it'll be 1 or 2, 3% more. And over the course of 12, 24, 36 months, because you did all this work to prime your setup so that Google knows, instead of being that stupid asshat who puts tags on their site that represent super high volume keywords but have no relevance to helping the user find the page. They just think, oh, if even 2% of the people who search for lawnmower that get to this page, they'll be helped. No, figure out the keyword that if they found your page, they'd be happy they found it, thrilled they found it. And then you do that, Google, you help Google figure out what you should rank for and scratch their back a little bit. They will scratch yours a lot more once they start realizing that the quality of your data and the integrity of the data that you're giving them is good, and will use it to help their customers even more. So you can either work with Google or you can work against them. A lot of this stuff anymore with SEO stuff, that's still related to tricking Google. It's outdated. You don't need to do it anymore. You need to figure out how to convert. You figure that out, you're going to get all the organic, and more so than you're going to get tricking them. And not only that, the per dollar spent, why spend $2, $3, $4, $5 a month trying to get your organic rankings better when you could put that towards an ad budget, which you're going to get half of the value of your ad traffic through the organic like I talked about. Not only that, I mentioned on other videos, once you get up to, you can get to the point where you start with like a $3K a month ad budget on Google. That works. You know what your target cost per sale needs to be, or your cost per lead needs to be profitable. You know that going in because you ran your numbers on close rates and your margins and all that. And then you go from $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and then basically know that you maintained your cost per sale there, or your cost per lead there, and then you get up to $10,000 a month. Once you get to $10,000 a month, that seems to be the pivotal point where the organic traffic really starts opening up. Not to say it won't on a smaller level, but once you get into 5-figure territory, almost every time the floodgates start opening. If you think about it from Google's perspective, it makes sense, because if you're Google, who are you going to send the free traffic to? The person who's a freeloader, or is the person that is your customer? Not only that, and I've mentioned this on my videos before, when somebody comes from an ad through your web page, and the way that most people track the results is they ask their customers as they're on the phone with them, how did you find us, right? You may do this. And then what do they say? Google. Well, they don't know if it's Google Ads or organic, and even if you ask them that, it's not reliable because they don't know what if it was an ad or not. It's so indistinguishable anyway. You know you can't count on that. And so Google knows if they send you free traffic and you start hearing Google more, you'll think that the ads that you started are the result are the result of the increase in people saying Google when you talk to them before they put their credit card order through or what have you. So they want people to, as much as it seems like they don't want your business, they do want every person there competing because it builds an overall better system. The more people that are actually trying to make a better user experience, competing all at the same time. And part of, and not only that, more relevant to what I said, they can charge more for the PPC traffic as a whole per click if you're getting more traffic from organic along with it, because obviously you're going to, let's say double your sales. Now you're thinking the traffic's worth more than it is. So if you think about it from that perspective, and it really makes sense to not even focus on tricking Google anymore or actually doing all the gimmicky stuff. If you want to do public relations, getting articles on industry publications and all that, that's PR. But as far as the old school or SEO optimization, past what I've mentioned here and getting your site up to par and giving them more content that basically will rank for and convert well for the terms that you actually want to show up for, that's basically it. If you do that, they'll keep doing more and ranking you more and more and more because you've given them just what they want. You don't have to trick them anymore. It's not cost effective to trick them anymore, realistically speaking. And as a final thing to it, even if you do trick them, like I said, they're going to find out your page doesn't convert, it won't be there. But even if you trick them and you do convert well when you get there, it's volatile. You can't rely on SEO alone. You can rank well, you staff up, you get another 10 employees, Google decides to change the algorithm, your business is cut in half because your organic rankings are cut in half, you're bankrupt. You can't take a hit like that. You can't rely on organic alone. And if you can get your organic to come up by doing more PPC, by figuring that project out, of the code of getting PPC to work, no matter what angle you look at this, it doesn't make sense to have a SEO budget when you could have a PPC budget anyway. And PPC will spur all of the content that you need to rank organically, all the data you need to rank organically, and it'll keep spitting it out the longer you do your PPC. And you'll get an overall higher ROI from your set money by doing PPC than trying to trick Google, at least long term, because the results, when you trick Google, they're trying to get rid of you all the time, whereas you're working with them, you rank the right way, they want you to be there the whole time as well. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. If you like this video, I have a lot of other videos about other PPC money-making strategies on this channel for you to take a look at. If you want to make a ton of money with PPC, you can find lots of content on this channel about that. I have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns the way that I build them that are guaranteed to work basically for our clients. And if you want to see the strategies on how to make money with PPC laid out in that kind of format, you can find it there. If you have any questions about getting your instant results with instant SEO traffic hike, as described on this video, need clarifications, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, typically within a day or two time. And with all that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on my next video that comes out with another great PPC strategy that can turn more of your money into more money when it comes out then. See you there.